You still going on. Still going on. You still going on about that. You still going on. You still going on. You still going on about that.
Wow, okay, yeah. Little Nirvana.
Again, every week we go through this.
They all remind me of something. So yeah, this is kind of a bonus.
Bonus episode. Yeah, I guess fine. That was Nirvana. Yeah, sure, whatever. Yes, that was Nirvana. Okay, so yes, this is a bonus episode of You Still Going On About That.
Right, and this is kind of early in the game to do a bonus episode.
Right, being that... Well, I mean, I figured since we have 4 listeners maybe now.
Oh, no, we're in the...
5 listener game
clearly
now?
in the double digits.
Double digits? Okay, well, if you get double digits, you deserve a bonus. Okay, well, let's just start. I'm Rob Israel.
I'm Joseph K.
And this is...
You Still Going On About That.
All right. So this bonus episode is about the new movie, Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel.
We just saw it today. We took our kids. They're both in the same grade and everything. So
2nd grade.
Yep. I have a kid named Roger. His kid's name's
Pixie.
And they're still going.
They're probably still going on about that.
But, I mean, she liked it, right?
Oh, she loved it.
And it was her first Marvel movie?
This was her first Marvel movie. She saw the DC property Wonder Woman and really liked it.
Right.
But aside from that, she's not seen a lot of superhero movies. She's seen...
How old is she?
She is 8.
Okay.
And she saw... she sees like some blockbusters like The Greatest Showman. She saw Wonder Woman, like I said. But
she's Star Wars?
She did. We started to watch Star Wars, and she did not like it.
Which one did you start at?
We started with A New Hope, and like literally 3 minutes in, Vader is choking some dude, and she's like turning green, and I'm like, okay, we don't have to...
Yeah, that's a tough one. I always feel like now with kids today, it's almost like you got to start them. It's almost like you start from episode 1, or you start them from the new ones.
Yeah.
Something that, I mean, especially if they're used to movies the way they're made today. Again, we've talked about this before. Like, the first Star Wars movie to me, like, is a 70s film. It's paced like a 70s film. And I don't think it's as engaging to a child who's used to how movies move and look and feel today. To have them, I mean, they're literally watching a movie that's over 40 years old.
Yeah, wow. Yeah,
and, that's like when you were a child and someone put on like Citizen Kane or something, or, Gone with the Wind.
Right, The Third Man or something.
Yeah, something really old. That is, you have to look at it from that perspective.
The film was granular. And
it's but it's pacing, the style, it doesn't match up.
Well, Star I don't want to say Star Wars New Hope was like cerebral or anything, but it was like an adult-themed movie. Like the stakes were stakes that adults cared about.
Yeah.
And the notion that Luke was trapped on a farm planet and wanted to... I mean, like, those were pretty...
Right,
heavy.
but I'm just talking about the pacing.
Yeah, and
I'm talking about how it's filmed.
How it moved.
And for an 8-year-old to really watch it... Now, I'm sure that people will say, you're wrong. My 4-year-old loves it. Or my 20... whatever.
But they're liars.
Yes, they're liars. They're trying to get your inheritance.
Right.
and that's really what these kids... They already know. They're trying to buddy you up.
Yeah. But no, my kid loved it, and on the way home, and I think I texted you this, she said that it's her new favorite movie.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about this later, but I was super excited to see this movie because it was being kind of announced as like, not a feminist movie, but it had like a strong female lead that wasn't... And as the father of a daughter, I was really excited about that, and I'll tell you, it 100% delivered on that angle, and that wasn't a big deal.
Well, as a father of a son, this movie made me very angry.
You seemed triggered the entire time.
I was just angry. I was like, look at her being a girl.
Clenched
look at that,
fists.
That girl doing that girl power.
She's fully clothed. What is going on?
She's not subservient. I thought it was good. The thing I liked about this movie, and I think it's funny, I think it's the 20th. So... not including any of those other Marvel Universe movies.
Yes.
Meaning Iron Man from 2008 to now.
Yeah,
We're not
wow.
talking, that does not include any of those movies from other studios. We're talking Marvel.
The cinematic universe.
Marvel, that was like Marvel and Paramount, then bought by Disney.
Right.
So going back 2008. So this is like the 20th movie, I think.
Wow.
So, but what I liked about it was, and I think it was smart of them to put this movie in 1994. Have it take place in the past. It almost felt like a really good way to introduce the Marvel Universe to a whole new generation of kids. Because you got to figure, like you said, this is your daughter's first movie seeing the Marvel Universe, and now she wants to go back and see the other ones. And what works about this one is it is, in a way, like a prequel. I mean, it really is a prequel in a way.
It is.
You see a young Samuel Jackson. You see younger, like...
Coulson.
You see Coulson.
Sure.
You see Ronan, which... I will be honest to you, I thought that was the weakest part of the movie. It felt very...
It felt forced.
It felt honest. Like, it was very non-essential. Okay, spoilers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I want to warn you guys. This is a complete spoiler. We're not reviewing the movie. Like, we don't... This is not a review... Like, a review...
No, it's not a critical analysis.
We both liked it, though, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we might make fun of it a little bit in some parts.
Oh, no, I loved it.
There's some parts that deserve a little...
Gentle ribbon.
Yeah, gentle ribbon. Slight, light hazing.
Right, but look...
A little cookie.
I loved it. And I think you're right. Is this the first movie of the third phase? You know how they put them in phases?
I think this is still considered phase 3. I don't think phase 4 starts until... I think the new Spider-Man Far From Home that comes out after Avengers Endgame is considered phase 4.
Okay, well
this is still considered a phase 3 movie.
But I agree with your point. This is absolutely a transitional movie.
I think it's a great way to, like, if you have a kid or you have somebody that didn't see any Marvel movies, it's a good introduction film because you do meet Nick Fury at a younger age, and they do a good job. I mean, there are some like prequel-itis moments.
It did have some of that
because it is, like I said, it is, and even though it's its own thing and it's introducing whole new things, it's still like a prequel to the entire Marvel Universe because it takes place in 1994.
It was. And I guess I'm kind of jumping around here, but it was an origin story that didn't feel like an origin story.
I think the way they did it was kind of funny. It reminded me almost a little bit of like Wolverine, how Wolverine should have been done. Like if Wolverine was written well, I'm talking about Wolverine's origin.
Yes, Wolverine origin.
If Wolverine was handled by Marvel, let's say, and not by Fox, but by Marvel, Fox, which actually now that Disney owns Fox, this is, who knows what's going to happen.
The
whole game has changed because we don't know what's going to happen. There's still a Dark Phoenix movie coming out.
Yeah, but
that's it. I think that's it after that.
Well, Jennifer Lawrence is bowing out.
Well, I just saying, like, I think that whole line is dead. Like, they're going to reboot it. Like, there's a New Mutants movie that never came out. Like, it was supposed to come out last year, and they keep pushing it back. It was like... It was going to be like a horror, rated R movie.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And who knows? I don't know if it tested well or they just keep pushing it back. It was supposed to come out spring of 18 or Valentine's Day of 18, and then it just got pushed back a year. And now they're like, there's rumors that might just get dumped on Hulu.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, sure.
And I think, especially with the whole Marvel being bought with Disney buying Fox assets, like they're not gonna. They don't own like Fox News. They don't own any of that stuff.
Yeah.
They don't own Fox Sports because they already have ESPN. I guess they bought the library. I kind of. Well, I'm not gonna get into it, but I kind of wish they. I wish they just made a deal to just get the Marvel assets and left the rest of Fox alone. I just think
it's a complicated.
It's too much of one company, but whatever. I'm not
whatever.
Yeah. I don't want to say anything bad.
So
potential.
It's just sorry.
Our potential new Lord and Masters.
Yeah, right. We welcome our over. I loved.
Speaking of that, I don't think Simpsons is part of the deal.
Oh, really?
I don't think so. No, they won't have the Simpsons.
I guess that tracks. Well, I loved Captain Marvel. I went into it with. I don't want to say high expectations, but I went into it thinking I'm going to enjoy this, and I left thinking I enjoyed it much more than I thought I would.
I had no expectations. I mean, I think the one thing I like about Marvel trailers and they've been getting really good at is they don't ruin the actual movie.
Right.
There was a lot of content that was not relayed in the trailers. Like, you got little glimpses of things.
Yeah.
You really didn't get, like, the main meat of the story. They kept a lot of surprises. There's a lot of, like... So, again, spoilers.
Right. Well, yeah, like, it was essentially a... spoilers, like a Kree...
We don't have to say that anymore.
Right, we'll be done. But like a Kree Skrull...
The Kree have been
right?
involved in the Marvel universe since, like, Guardians of the Galaxy.
Right.
And they've been on, like, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. a lot. Do you watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
I watched, like, the first 3 seasons, maybe, and then I kind of...
Okay.
I fell out of it when
yeah.
Mockingbird became Mockingbird.
Okay. I definitely recommend the last 2 seasons.
Oh, okay.
The Ghost Rider season's pretty cool. And but then they do a whole, like... they go into the future or something like that, and like the world has been destroyed, and the Kree are running it, or so. It's really weird.
Okay,
and then the Kree show up in something else. So the Kree have been kind of involved. And the thing is, it's interesting about this movie, and so there is a big twist in the film.
Yes,
but how about this? Let's talk about everything leading up to Captain Marvel.
Okay, you mean the history of the universe?
No, I mean like the marketing and like everything, and like how this movie has become like red meat for certain people. It's become like basically the 2019 version of the female Ghostbusters.
Yes.
I don't know how it started. I like I said, I think like sometimes these things are just blown out of proportion and generated by the studio to get like attention.
Yeah, maybe.
But there are really people out there that are really hating on this. Yeah, there are people who are really hating on this movie.
Yes.
Hating on Brie Larson. They're very mad.
Right. Well, look, on Twitter, I saw some... I'm sorry?
No,
on Twitter, like I saw, I would say probably like 70-30 as far as like people, 70% positive, but the 30%, very few people, of the 30% that hated it, like... a bunch of them were basically like, I'm mad because it's a girl. But then there was a small fraction that would pretend... Yeah, but there was a small fraction that would pretend to be angry and say, like, I clearly don't hate it because it's a girl. I just don't like the plot.
I don't like the writing.
Yes, exactly.
The movie. Yeah,
and they couldn't explain it any further. Like, someone would say, like, oh, well, what did
Why would you hate it? It's like any other Marvel movie. Like, if you like the Marvel Universe movies, if you've seen all 20, you're going to like this one, too.
It's a template.
Like, I feel like we're defending again, this is a corporate-owned property. It's a billion-dollar machine. The movie's going to make hundreds of millions of dollars.
Oh, it's already doing bank.
Yeah, it's going to make tons of money. Let's not feel sorry for it. There's bigger problems in the world.
No. But look, on Reddit, and I know Reddit can kind of be like a little sketchy, but like on Reddit, a lot of people are hating it simply because...
What are they saying about it on the Daily Stormer?
Oh, right, yes.
I need to know what they're saying on there, or Breitbart.
Well, I know. They're film
Breitbart. Is a Breitbart film critic...
He gave it 2 Sig Heils down. He gave it 2 Sig...
God. Not Pfaffenhugen or whatever.
Well, yeah. People got angry about it, and I will say, just from my own perspective, and I went into it kind of hoping that it would play up a little bit of the feminist angle. It really didn't.
Well, I mean, it's a... How is it supposed to play up the feminist angle?
Well, there was a couple scenes, and I'm going to go out on this, and I'm going to say these as like positive.
I think I should have began the podcast by saying that it's very important that we hear this perspective of this movie by 2 middle-aged white men.
Yes, exactly.
I don't think enough middle-aged white men get to have their perspective out there.
It is a void.
And I'm glad we're filling the spot. And go ahead.
Yeah, well, look,
tell us about our feminist agenda.
Let me tell you about my feelings. Well, there was a scene where the motorcyclist drives up to Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
And he's like,
"What Fonz?"
Yeah, and he's like, "Why don't you smile more?" or something.
Yeah,
which is I mean, you see that like you can't open a newspaper.
Well, that was the big critique on when the first trailer hit.
Oh, okay.
Was that that's what kind of started the whole trolling.
That she wasn't smiling enough?
That started, like, that literally, because the first trailer I showed her, and then, like, no joke, and I'm wondering if, like, again, how this is manufactured.
Yeah.
This is manufactured, because it plays into the plot of the movie.
Manufactured outrage.
That, you get somebody to say, like, hey, she's not smiling, and they go, well, people will repeat it.
Right.
And then... then it just turns into this whole thing. But again, it also plays into, like, the plot of the film.
Yeah.
Because the whole movie's about her controlling her emotions and...
I should have looked this up before I came over. But do you know that law or that rule where it's like a critic said that like to be an interesting movie from a woman's perspective that a woman had to be in the movie and talk to another woman, not about a man. Do you know what I'm talking about? There's like a rule. There's like 3 parts of the...
And they start doing the dishes.
No,
they start dancing and singing, doing chores.
Said basically, like, if you want your movie to not be like, terrible, that you needed to have a female character in there that spoke to another female, not about a male, or something like that. There's like 3 parts to it, and this movie met those criteria.
I guess.
I should have looked it up.
Yeah, you should have looked that one up. I don't know. Again, I don't get the outrage behind this movie. I think it's really bizarre. There was really no outrage for Wonder Woman. I don't understand.
Right,
I think there are people who just don't like this actress. I think she was fine in it.
Well, it's funny you say that. My wife saw an interview with her like a week or 2 ago and said she didn't like the actress. Yeah. And I asked her, I was like, why didn't you like the actress? And she said she couldn't like put it into words. She said something to the effect of like she came off as
smug.
It's something like that. I mean, and it wasn't like this. I mean, my wife
I'm used to her being. So she's been I don't know how old she is now. I'm used to her I feel like she's just young just because I've seen her in things where she plays younger characters.
Right, okay.
I think she's got to be like in her 30s now. I have no idea.
Yeah.
But she was in United States Terror.
That's where I
played
know her
the
from.
daughter on that. She's in Scott Pilgrim
Saves
the World. She plays...
Who would she play?
It's funny because he fights 3 people from me. So Captain America's in it. Chris Evans.
Oh.
She's one of the boyfriends. And also Brandon Routh's in it.
Superman.
Yeah, and Captain Adam from... Legend, or whatever, the League of Tomorrow,
the
DC shows.
Yes,
the great
Legends of Tomorrow. Right. Yes.
Very good, very excellent TV.
Awesome. Right.
And what else? And then also Brie Larson plays. She's an ex-girlfriend.
Oh, okay.
And she's in this band that blew up, that got popular, and then Brandon Routh's like the ex-boyfriend of that.
Really?
Go on.
Okay.
Did you like Scott Pilgrim?
I liked it quite a bit.
Yeah.
And I heard a ton of crappy things about it, and everyone said it was terrible. And then I watched it, and I was like, I kind of get how a lot of people wouldn't like it, but I liked it a lot.
I liked it, but when I saw it...
Did you see it in the theater? Or,
no,
I saw it on
video.
Netflix.
I saw it on like DVD or cable shortly after. It was
I
like
got
a year
Netflix
after.
DVD.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So I saw it it came out in like 2010, I think, or 2009. I watched it and I said, I like it, but I feel like 20-year-old Rob would have liked it better than mid-30-year-old Rob. Because I didn't... I wasn't in that life anymore. It's It's a very time-specific movie.
Yes.
It's very good. I felt like that's kind of life I was living in my late teens, early 20s.
Yeah.
And I felt like I did nothing in common with any of these characters anymore. I lived that life. And I know that sounds weird, but because that movie's so involved, the plot and everything revolving around, and the way they talk to each other, and the way these kids or young adults.
It is a definite time and place.
I felt like I would have enjoyed this film and appreciate it much more if it came out in my teens or college years. I would have been like, this is my favorite movie.
Did you read the comics?
No.
Oh yeah, I never read the comics either.
No, I didn't care for the art style that much.
It was a little If I remember right, like Powerpuff Girls.
Yeah, a little Powerpuff Girl anime looking. Right. Yeah, I mean, I appreciate it, but
sure,
it didn't grab me. And again, I think it's my age or
look, it's
I don't know. Maybe I'm just a lame ass.
Yeah, it's a cool thing. That the comics weren't my thing. I like the movie.
I like the director though. The director did. He's the I forgot his name, but he did Hot Fuzz. He did Shaun of the Dead.
Yes,
he did.
Those are great.
This is the end, or this is the end of Seth Rogen one. He did one where it's like the world's ending too. With the aliens.
He did 3, and it's a trilogy, and he calls them by
Cornetta trilogy, something like that. Yeah.
They're all good.
Yeah, and they are doing he's done some other stuff, but he was supposed to do Ant-Man, actually.
Oh, okay.
And they removed him from it.
Huh.
He was the one who pitched Ant-Man.
Right.
And he got the ball rolling, supposedly. He did like a demo reel.
They cut him?
I think the problem is, and people were making jokes about this, but again, this is why Marvel is good at what they're doing versus, I mean, there's things to be said. Like, if you want to do a universe, you're going to, unfortunately, it's going to be a tight ship.
Yes, yeah.
And it might not be considered like a artistic creative outlet for directors, and they can have their style and their take, but
it's unfortunately
it's going to be constrained to the universe. And I guess he wanted to. I gotta look this guy up.
Well, as you're doing that, it's funny because I think James Gunn probably veered as far away as they were going to let anyone veer.
Well, I think he had the right content, though.
Yeah.
He was working on Guardians of the Galaxy.
It was a property
he was perfect for it. It was like, they could do prison planets. They could do all kinds of crazy things.
Right.
The alien worlds leads to a different type of, like, people are willing to accept weirdness if the world is not Earth.
Well,
it's all subjective.
I'll say this as you kind of look that up, is that almost seamlessly the Marvel properties have shifted.
Edgar Wright.
Oh, yeah.
Edgar Wright was supposed to be the director of Ant-Man, and they gave it to somebody else. I'm not going to look him up.
He did a fine job. I like Ant-Man.
I like Ant-Man, too. I thought Ant-Man was fun. I mean, it was like more like a family film.
Yeah.
Paul Rudd,
he's great. I love him and everything.
He's great in it, and he's great when he shows up in the other movies.
Yeah.
I liked him in Civil War for like the 15 minutes he's in it. He just interacts funny with them. He's going to be in Avengers Endgame. He's probably going to be funny in that too.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't belong there. That's why it's funny. And Ant-Man, the fact that they even made an Ant-Man movie is insane.
It is. Well, the Guardians of Galaxy.
That's insane too.
Well, here's what I was going to say is that they've shifted from basically being superhero movies to science fiction movies.
In some ways, yeah. I mean,
the last, I don't know,
science, definitely sci-fi films.
Yeah, I mean, if you showed
sci-fi fantasy,
if you showed Captain Marvel to someone, and you didn't let them know it was, they would have said it's a science fiction film, not necessarily a superhero film.
It falls under. It definitely, the fact that Marvel decided, which I was blown away by this, that they decided to make the core story the Infinity Gauntlet. It's pretty freaking amazing. And I think, in a way, it was a blessing that they didn't have the rights to X-Men and Spider-Man at the time.
Oh, yeah.
Because they would have just focused on those guys. Yep. And you would never have had an Ant-Man. You probably would never had a Thor movie.
Yeah.
You never would have had definitely no Doctor Strange.
Right.
So Captain Marvel, though, is a movie that they've been trying to, they announced it Brie Larson's been given the role 3-4 years ago.
Right.
Supposedly she was supposed to show up in Avengers 2. There was hints of her showing up in Civil War.
And then she never did.
They just weren't ready yet. They didn't start filming it anyway. But everybody, I guess because they announced it, they just assumed that she would have showed up in those movies. But I think the timing's perfect. And
it is. And the way they've kind of, they made this a prequel to the whole universe, but they've also made it, as a bridge film to the next Avengers movie, clearly.
Yeah.
Which is, it is kind of an interesting dynamic.
So,
Oh, no, go ahead. What were you going to say?
No, I was just saying earlier about, the weird, controversy behind this movie. It's just really bit. Okay, so I think where it starts, though, it has some deep roots that goes back to the comics. Because Captain Marvel, that was not her name, right?
Well,
her name's Miss Marvel.
Right.
In the comics, she was introduced in Carol Danvers in the 70s as Miss Marvel.
Well, you're probably going to have to school me on this, but when I was a little kid, I was always a decent comics fan. Not like some, but more than most.
Okay.
Captain Marvel to me was always Shazam. The DC property, Shazam.
Well, there was a Captain Marvel in the Marvel Universe. And he was a Kree warrior.
Yes.
They introduced him in like the late 60s.
Right.
They killed him off in the early 80s. They killed the character off. They gave him cancer. And they had this... it's kind of weird. And there was a graphic novel called like The Death of Captain Marvel, and Thanos shows back up. Thanos was dead already. So I'm gonna go real geeky here.
Yeah.
I don't really have a huge history of Captain Marvel.
Of the DC Captain Marvel.
Well, no, I'm not even gonna talk about it.
Okay.
I'm just talking about Captain Marvel. So Captain Marvel was introduced in like late 60s. It's kind of interesting. They took a character. You know what Rick Jones is?
No.
Rick Jones was Bruce Banner's sidekick.
Oh,
so Bruce Banner's origin
was
was that he was, they were doing a bomb test, and Rick Jones was sitting out there playing his harmonica.
Yeah.
And they're like, "What are you doing here? You're not supposed to be here." And he's like, "Yeah, you old man." And he's like sitting on his car playing the harmonica, like all the crazy kids.
Playing my harp, see?
Yeah. And that's when like Bruce Banner pushes him out of the way, pushes him into a ditch, and then he gets the full brunt, becomes the Hulk. So so Rick Jones is his sidekick, follows him around for a while, and then eventually they did other stories, and they would find something else to do with Rick Jones. Rick Jones at some point became
the super freak.
Yeah, no, he became Billy Bastion, actually, of Marvel, which is kind of funny.
Because
Billy Bastion is younger, and then he becomes Captain Marvel.
But that's weird, because Billy Batson is Shazam.
Yes, which is Captain Marvel. Okay, well, let me just focus on Marvel.
Yeah, all right.
Not talking about DC. So then Rick Jones becomes... It's kind of odd. I never really read the comics, and again, guys, anyone listening to this, you can Wikipedia, maybe you know this. Leave a comment, tell us, we're wrong. I don't know. I don't care. So, it's really odd. He gets, his hands on the Negabands, they're called, or something, and that's the thing that gives him, his power, and he would almost share the space with Captain Marvel. He would become Captain Marvel.
Okay.
I don't understand why the Kree warrior needed Rick Jones and why they shared a body almost.
Right.
And Billy Bastion would go, not Billy, again, that's literally what they were doing. They were ripping off, but they were Marvel comics.
Right.
And remember in the movie they kind of make a joke and they say Marvel.
Yes, yeah.
And he's like, Marvel.
Yes,
he's like, why did you say Marvel? And he's like, no, it's Marvel.
Right. Yeah, no, I do
when he said that stuff, Carvel, the ice cream company.
Oh, Fudgy the Whale.
Yeah, Cookie Puss.
Cookie Puss.
Yeah, I was hoping Cookie Puss to show up in this movie, being that he's an alien.
Yeah,
delicious alien.
Cookie Puss.
So, this character was around. So Rick Jones would be kind of like the teenager, and then he would call upon Captain Marvel, save the day, whatever.
Right.
And then he eventually, I don't know, stopped being Captain Marvel. I don't understand how the two of them split up. But the original Captain Marvel was not was a guy and was not Brie Larson.
Right.
Miss Marvel, was Carol Danvers, was introduced in the 70s. She kind of had similar powers. She wasn't Captain Marvel.
Right.
She was Miss Marvel. And she kind of wore similar colors.
I remember
a little more revealing.
Yeah.
And then, some point, they introduced a character in X-Men called Rogue.
Okay.
Rogue steals powers.
Right.
Rogue stole the powers from Captain Marvel in an Avengers Annual number 10.
Okay. This is some pretty inside baseball, but yeah.
Yeah. So, because the character is very complicated. It's a very complicated history. The
Miss Marvel.
Carol Danvers. So, the reason why people forget, Rogue, she could steal powers, but I don't know if they show her she has super strength. And she can fly and beat up people, and she's super powerful on top of stealing powers. Well, that's because she stole stole Miss Marvel's powers.
Right.
To the point where Miss Marvel wasn't Miss Marvel anymore. She ended up becoming this alien character called Binary.
I vaguely remember
She was like white and red, glowy.
What year would
this is like early 80s, maybe late 70s, and she was binary for years.
Yeah, because I was pretty into the X-Men in the late 70s, or mid to late 70s.
So that's when, so Rogue gets introduced, or post Dark Phoenix story. Rogue gets her powers. Rogue started out as a bad guy.
Yes.
I guess once she gets the powers of Miss Marvel, she realized, I don't know if the goodness of Miss Marvel makes her good.
Sure.
Yeah. So at some point later on, in this very convoluted story, I'd say around the mid to late 80s, Miss Marvel comes back.
Okay.
Gets her powers back from Rogue. Even though Rogue was still super strong. I don't know. It's
sure.
really complicated. But she was back. She was always kind of like a side character, Miss Marvel. She was, like I said, big for a little bit in the 70s, had a lot of comics. And then they kept her around. She was part of the Avengers. She wore like kind of like this black... Again, a very...
Yes.
Definitely not movie-friendly... PG movie-friendly outfit. That would be, definitely not the feminist costume.
54 years.
Yeah, even though it was like the 80s or 90s. Early 2000s, like 5 years ago.
Wow. Okay.
So eventually, they decided, like, I would say 8 years ago, they decided to change Miss Marvel into Captain Marvel, which I think was a smart move. Because Captain Marvel was a great name. DC couldn't use it anymore.
For sure.
Because Marvel had, like, they took the... I don't know, it was weird. They took
There's
the rights.
some weirdness with it, yeah.
We'll get into that. So, Captain... And I think that's why some of the fans or some of these, like... angry nerds or whatever, angry people, they feel like it was always forced, that she wasn't that great of a character. Well, and I find it ironic that Miss Marvel was angering, that Captain Marvel is angering these, like...
this group of people.
These... Maybe they're right wing. I don't know what the hell they are.
Proud
the character was Proud Little Boys. Yeah, you'll have to listen to that Fight Club episode. To get that show.
Oh, I forgot. Yeah,
okay, we're not there yet because we're going to be playing this out of order.
Yeah.
So listen to that Fight Club episode. Okay, so the character supposedly was very conservative. Like her character.
Okay.
Like.
Well, like military, like...
yeah, but almost like a Republican, actually.
Right.
Like they wouldn't even say
the comedian in Watchmen or something like...
Or Guy Gardner. You know Guy Gardner?
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, he would be like he was like the Reagan Green Lantern.
Yeah, really that's funny. Weird. I hadn't thought of it. It's funny, but that is true.
Miss Marvel, and she wasn't like outspoken and obnoxious. She just was very conservative.
Right.
And I'm surprised that none of these people realize, any of these people, if they were real fans,
right,
they would know that this character has a history. Now, I don't think she does anymore. I think they kind of played that down. But I remember years ago, she definitely was more...
pretty conservative.
I'd say she was like a... I always love when people are like, I'm an Eisenhower Republican. I'm a JFK Democrat.
But she would have been a Reagan...
I don't fucking know. Cold War, fucking... Theodore Roosevelt.
Like I said, I was when I was a young kid, like very young kid, growing up, I was hardcore DC.
Yeah.
Batman, Flash, the Legion of Superheroes, Lightning Lad and Bouncing Boy.
Bouncing Boy.
Yeah. I was like all into DC. And then when I moved down to Florida...
All about that Bouncing Boy.
Bouncing Boy, yeah. Yep. Well, he was dating Triplicate Girl or something.
Ooh.
He was dating... He made out well for himself, Bouncing Boy.
He did bounce around.
He did. And then when I moved down to Florida, like all the cool kids were into Spider-Man. And so I'm like, I'm going...
They weren't into Bouncing Boy and Triplicate Girl?
They were not.
I figured they would be.
So I went to Marvel, and I've always been pretty tribal about my, like... I'm not
Everyone
anymore,
is, and they still are now. I love how it's kind of bleed into that now.
Well,
with the movies.
Back in the day, Spider-Man, X-Men, Thor. But I don't remember Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel. I don't remember that being a property at all.
Because it was popular for a minute, if it was, in the 70s.
Okay,
and it didn't really play into the 80s. Like I said, Rogue got her powers. The character was pretty much dormant. She was binary. She wasn't really Captain. She wasn't Miss Marvel anymore. And Captain Marvel was dead for years. And Marvel, for years, was teasing bringing back Captain Marvel. For years, they would tease, like they would do little things to hint. The character, they killed them off in the 80s. They did this thing during Civil War
Right.
where they brought him back, and it was really bizarre. Yes. But he wasn't back, and then it was revealed that the Captain Marvel was actually a Skrull.
Oh, okay. I don't remember it, but I read about that when I was looking up stuff this afternoon.
So, and we're talking about the guy here, the guy Captain Marvel, the original.
Right.
So, like I said, they made her into Captain Marvel, which was fine. I mean, I thought it was cool, but like I said, there's some people who like feel like the whole thing was forced. But I think they knew back then they already were making the movies, and they knew that they wanted, a Captain Marvel would ring better than a Miss Marvel movie.
Yes,
the name Captain Marvel sounds better than Miss Marvel.
Well, I don't want to get like too like sociological about it, but like the notion of being a Miss and then your husband's last name or whatever, that is kind of like a weird, there's some weirdness there.
I guess. I don't know, whatever.
Well,
Captain just sounds more universal. And
it does.
Man's a little more like, I'm a captain.
I'm a captain. I'm working my way up.
Well, I'm Lieutenant Marvel.
I loved Brie Larson as Captain Marvel.
I thought she was,
not knowing much about the character beforehand.
Honestly, like, I don't even know if I would recommend people read the comics. I mean, read the comics,
Sure, if you want to.
But the movie does a fine job. So I find it funny that this movie is coming out like less than a month before Shazam.
Yeah, okay, that is weird.
Okay, so Shazam, this is where...
Because Shazam is Captain Marvel.
Right, not anymore.
But not anymore.
Okay, so Captain Marvel came out in the early 40s. Billy Batson becomes it was Fawcett Comics, it was not DC.
Right.
Fawcett created the character, and it got so popular that it was outselling Superman.
Wow. And
the DC sued them because they said that this was basically Superman.
Okay.
I'm not going to get into the gritty details.
Right.
But
you're not going to cite case law.
But somehow they won, and I don't know, they canceled the comic, they absorbed it, they eventually brought him back in the early 70s.
And Shazam.
No, Captain Marvel, actually. They didn't start calling him, they really didn't start calling him Shazam until, I would say, like 10 years ago. Like, they would start really selling the name Shazam, but they were still referring to him as Captain Marvel for a very long time. It wasn't until a couple of years ago that he was just Shazam.
I saw, where I became familiar with Shazam was in the 70s TV series.
But wasn't he called Captain Marvel in that show?
He was called Shazam.
But was the show...
No, it was Shazam and ISIS. There were 2 half-hour shows back-to-back, and the first one was called Shazam, and they kind of made an acronym out of it.
Oh, yeah, look at that.
Yeah, they made an acronym out of it, and it was like, he had the wisdom of Shakespeare, the strength of Hercules, the whatever of... And
did he meet Kazam?
No, but that would have been...
that would have been amazing,
epic.
Right?
But no, they
so
they backronymed it so that Shazam stood for all these people, like Sophocles and Zeus and...
Yeah, because I'm looking at it, and he is Captain Marvel. So the character is really, it was Wiz Comics he was introduced.
Okay.
And...
It's a bizarre story. I mean, I don't want to get all into that, but like...
It's just interesting, though, because that these movies came out similar times.
That is very strange.
And they're both technically Captain Marvel. I wonder if they'll make a reference. I'm looking forward to that movie. I actually
it looks real good.
That. It looks like fun.
Well, did you watch Chuck, the movie, the TV show Chuck?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Like, if I saw that guy and they said back then that he was going to play Shazam, I would have been like... But I think he looks fine.
He looks the part.
Yeah.
So anyway...
he shouldn't look too serious anyway.
Shazam, come on.
Like, no, but it's a little kid turning into him.
Yeah.
He should still have a kind of a little bit of a goofiness to him.
Right.
Like, as a 15-year-old kid, unless the kid's, like, super distured.
Yeah.
He shouldn't turn into, like an, Arnold Schwarzenegger, mid-80s or something.
Right.
Well, Shazam, though.
I thought Brie Larson was great. I loved the character. I thought she was like infinitely cool, and it wasn't.
Did that make you mad?
No, it didn't
look mad. Who cares? She be cool. Who does she think she is?
Yeah, not to get like
Chanel shirt.
Yeah, right.
Then
look, it's funny it's funny you say that because I wondered why this is stupid, but like all the music was great.
Yeah,
the music hit. every
Well, I mean,
90s.
it's the 90s. It's perfect.
But think about it. They did Heart.
Yep.
They did Lita Ford.
Yep.
They did Elastica.
Yep.
They did all girl bands, and she's wearing like a Nine Inch Nails tee. I wasn't.
Well, no, they had Nirvana.
Yeah, Nirvana.
They
I
had
guess
they had a bunch of stuff that
it
was just.
skewed heavily. God, no doubt.
Well,
Just
yeah,
the-
that part. Yeah,
it
not
skewed
just the girl
heavily
part.
towards female artists.
Yeah.
And there's Nirvana was the big one. Come As You Are.
I have a question.
Yeah.
This is getting cherry picking.
Okay.
When they do the "I'm Just a Girl,"
Right.
I don't think that song was out yet.
Yeah, it's funny you say that.
I think I was in college when that came out, and this is supposed to be '94.
Okay,
they
was. I can't believe they fucked that up. I remember I was in Portland, Oregon when that came out. That would have been that was mid '90s. When did you go to college?
I went to college in '95 to '99, and
I'll bet you I'm Just a Girl. I'll bet you No Doubt's Tragic Kingdom album came out in '94.
Let's see. I'm looking at it right now.
95? 94 seems a little early now that I
Yeah, '95.
Okay, yeah.
You know, I have a funny story about that song.
Oh, really?
I went to go see 311, which was kind of
Oh,
funny
yeah.
itself.
Yeah. Right. What was it? All hooked up? All shooked up?
I don't know.
That was a great track.
I saw them twice.
Sure.
I mean, they're okay, I guess.
Yeah.
They're great. I love it. If you guys ever want me to do a post,
No,
I'm happy to do it.
Well, they had that great album cover, the Alien Head. Yeah.
So, No Doubt opened up for them. So this is how early this is still, like, the song just came out, like maybe a couple months before.
Right.
Again, not 1994, Captain Marvel. But I guess she had superpowers, so she could, you know, if she could she'd be a space alien.
Yeah.
I guess we could have a song come out a
She
year
could
before.
have gotten a hold of a demo.
Yeah, she could have gotten a hold of the demo, and played it while she beat up. Okay, so she starts saying, "I'm Just a Girl." And I'm sitting in the audience, and this is like general admission, and every girl in the audience just started going insane.
Oh, okay.
And my foot was stomped on
by
like hundreds of like 14-year-old girls. It was horrible.
Oh, yeah.
They were very excited to be girls,
right?
And my feet weren't.
Well, it's a great song, you know, and it fits the. It's funny.
Is it a great song?
I think so. I like Gwen. I'm not like.
Did you see the Michael Moore documentary, Fahrenheit 11/9?
Yeah.
When he blames Gwen Stefani for Trump being president. It's like the
don't
beginning of the movie.
that.
Yeah, he says that Trump decided to basically, and it's, I mean, obviously it's a joke, but there's probably like a lot of truth to that. That Gwen Stefani was on The Voice.
Okay. Yep.
And Trump found out that she was making more money.
Oh yeah,
being just a judge on that show than
he was getting
hosting
for
The Apprentice at the time.
Right.
That he was so mad that that's why to get more money at NBC.
He said he was going to run for president.
He would run for president, and he did that. And they said the whole thing was fake. The whole him, you know, they paid people to be out there when he came down the escalator.
Right.
But the problem was he said a bunch of crazy racist shit.
And
like
30% of the electorate was...
Yeah, well, no, but then he got fired immediately by NBC. It didn't work.
Well, on that level.
And then he's president now, so I guess he might have won. In some ways.
Yeah.
But I always think that's kind of funny whenever I see Gwen Stefani now. I'm always it's your fault.
Well,
even though it's not her fault at all.
No. But like the music was so spot on, and you know what's funny is like, and not even the music, like the soundtrack, like Heart and Lita Ford.
Well, I mean, it's a smart soundtrack.
Even the soundtrack, the incidental and ambient music, the like, it was almost like leftover 80s kind of. It felt like there's so many scenes where it felt like a 90s movie.
So let's get into some spoiler territory.
Yes.
So the main plot of the movie, it's kind of finicky. You're taught, you don't really know much about her. She wakes up, she's having weird dreams, and she wakes up, she's on Kree World.
Yes.
And she's like part of the Kree
Kree
heroes,
Army.
the Kree Army. And she's working, Jude Law is like her boss.
Yep.
His name is like Yardvar.
Right, Yardvar.
Aardvark.
I don't remember his name at all. He's Jude Law.
Flar.
Lala.
Jude Law. Yeah.
Bob Blah.
Yeah, Bob Blah. Yeah, well, the rest of the development. So, and they she's working with them.
Yes.
And they gotta go stop those filthy Skrulls.
Oh, the Skrulls.
Oh, those filthy Skrulls. They're the worst. They make me so mad.
Yes.
And they'll make you mad too in the beginning.
They're shape-shifting.
Oh, they're shifty.
Yeah.
Shifty.
Right.
Yeah. So
a little subtext there, but
yeah,
sure.
Yeah. So, she thinks she's doing the right thing, and she doesn't know. Then they have this thing where they have the Kree intelligence.
Yes.
Which I know there's going to be some comic nerds or something who are going to complain. They're going to say, "Oh, they didn't show the Kree intelligence the way it's supposed to be."
Right.
I don't think they're going to shy away from that. I think they'll save that for the sequel if they make one.
Okay.
Or
yeah.
the Kree are part of the Marvel Universe. You will see the Kree again, if not in Captain Marvel 2. They'll
be a big part of the next phase.
They're part of everything. They've been part of it since Guardians of the Galaxy. So there's the Kree intelligence is a weird, bizarre, fat green blob head with tentacles coming out.
Okay, yeah.
It's like very Jack Kirby-esque. It's like type drawing from that era.
That psychedelic 70s.
Yeah, I don't think Marvel has proven that they do not shy away from that stuff. They have touched on.
Oh yeah.
In the first Guardian of the Galaxy alone, they showed Celestials. They showed. The fact you had Thanos in this one.
Right.
The biggest movie they've done is based on obscure stories from the 70s. Is insane.
Yeah.
That they have tapped into. So, calm your heads, guys. You're gonna see a big, weird green blob head with tentacles. I guarantee you, it will show up in some form. So, and she talks to Annette Bening.
Yeah.
Annette Bening.
It took me a little while. I knew her right when I saw her, and I was like, "That's." And then like midway through, I'm like, "Oh, it's Annette."
So you find out that the Kree intelligence, when you talk to it, it takes on an appearance that only, that you only see.
Right.
So you maybe see your dad.
It's a personal avatar.
Yeah, it's a personal avatar. So you're confused at the beginning. Why is she saying Annette Bening? I guess she must have loved the first Dick Tracy movie. Not Dick Tracy. I'm sorry. What was that? Bugsy.
Oh,
Big
yeah.
fan of Bugsy. She was in another movie starring the guy who played Dick Tracy. And then she goes and fights some Skrulls.
Of course.
The Skrulls come off as bad guys.
They are very menacing initially.
Well, you know what I loved about that? And I found it interesting that, how they depicted some Skrulls as being kind of monkey looking with big eyes?
Yes.
So I found it interesting that they had the more human-esque looking Skrulls, and they had the Skrulls that the way they looked in the original Fantastic Four comic in the 60s.
3 types of Skrull, right?
I guess so.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I did not remember
I always
that,
feel
but I Googled it today.
Sometimes some artists just draw them the way they wanted to.
Sure.
And then over a period of time, some writers no, that's one race of Skrull. That's a different race of Skrull. So yeah, I guess there was these different race of Skrulls, and there was these weird, they were a little smaller, more hunched over, and they had the big alien-looking eyes. I thought that was kind of cool, but they were not the main Skrulls.
No, they were helper Skrulls.
I guess.
Sure.
Yeah. I'm not going to get into the weird social, sociological study of the Skrull world, but she gets kidnapped by them. And then I guess they start picking at her brain.
Yes.
And the main guy is Talos.
Right.
He's played by new bad guy. He's from Ready Player One, and he was from Rogue One.
Mendelsohn? I'm getting this wrong.
He played Krennic in Rogue One.
Yeah.
I thought he was the best part of Rogue One.
Right. He was great in this. The Skrull was great in this, I thought.
So she escapes. They follow her to
great escape scene.
Yeah, she escapes. Cool scene. You'll like it. We can't spoil special effects.
Well, you learn so much about her character in that scene. She's clearly the Han Solo smart aleck, but she's clever and she's.
Which made me mad. That triggered me.
Oh yeah,
I was getting very mad about that. But I was how dare she?
Yeah, but she was so she's strong and so,
that made me mad too.
But it was a great scene, and it was funny and I don't know. It just reminded me of a lot of other scenes that Anyway.
So she ends up on Earth.
Yes.
Which she, in the 90s.
Right. Crashes into a Blockbuster, which is hilarious.
Everybody should.
Right. Well, there was like one on every street corner in the 90s. Yeah. So, sure, that tracks.
Right. Yeah, it makes sense. And
Coulson and Fury show up. They get called.
Yeah, the next day. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden Skrulls show up.
Right.
They have little riffs. They fight each other. They take a couple out. And then I guess it's revealed later on.
Yes.
That the Skrulls are actually not bad people.
No.
They're like almost like space refugees.
They are.
And the Kree have been like kind of wiping them out. So
right.
there's some little bit of like modern world, international, like little parables to what's going on in our world too. Like what
my kid, my daughter, my 8-year-old daughter, on the way out, we were walking out to the car, and she's like, it was weird because the good guys became the bad guys, and the bad guys became the good guys, and that was, that's basically it. That's like it was such a big perspective shift in the film.
I'm sure that'll make some people angry too.
Well, it could have, because like the Skrulls were so comically villainous in the beginning.
Well, they got pointy ears. They're green.
Yes, right. It checks all the buttons. But like they never, like they didn't kill people per se. Like and there was that one scene in the beginning where they were like, they're refugees. No, they're Skrulls. They're refugees. No, they're. And maybe it was like all true. It was like a weird thing.
They were posing as a different race of aliens on that planet in the beginning.
Yes, but they were also similarly refugees.
Yeah,
it was like they were posing as...
they were posing as a different alien refugee. Yeah. I wasn't shocked to find out the Kree were dicks.
Yes,
because the Kree have already been depicted as
they're known dicks.
They're dicks in the comic.
Yes,
they were known dicks even when the original Captain Marvel comic came out in the 60s. Yeah. He was like Captain Marvel.
Right.
His name was, and it's funny how the Annette Bening character technically is playing the original Captain Marvel.
Yeah,
even though she's a girl or
there's
a lady.
Annette Bening plays two.
Well, she's
roles.
Playing the AI.
Yes,
Supreme Intelligence, which is what Brie, but that's only what Brie Larson sees.
Right.
So what Jude Law saw, he even says, and he's not going to reveal. It's kind of like it's like in the Matrix when they go see the Oracle.
Right.
It's all personal and stuff like that. So like in a way, this Supreme Intelligence is like their Oracle. It's like and.
But Annette Bening on Earth is a good...
Is a Kree that was... Well, she was trying to find a way to end the Kree-Skrull War, which is they touch on that in this movie. That is a huge storyline that was going on for years in the Marvel comics, since the 70s. And they've done, like, Kree-Skrull War. It's been going on back and forth. And, like, even Marvel, the original Captain Marvel, was kind of, like, go against his people. Because the Kree are, like, totalitarian... They're dicks.
Yes, they're dicks.
They're space dicks.
Well, it's funny. Like, this is another weird thing. Like, in the beginning of the Captain Marvel movie, they said over and over again, like, look, we're going to go fight and we may die, but if that's what it takes, we're going to do it. And there's, like, a real... I don't want to get, like, super political about it, but, like, there's a real collectivist mindset to it, which is kind of a Reagan-era
I guess.
thought.
I mean, it's just militaristic.
But it was definitely, like... The individual human doesn't matter. If the individual Kree doesn't matter, the society matters.
Well, I think that's like if you're in any army at that point,
but
when
Carol goes, when Captain Marvel goes to Earth, she does a couple things. One, she like goes back to save Nick Fury, which is completely antithetical to that notion.
Yeah.
And she says,
she wasn't a Kree,
right? Because she wasn't a Kree, and later on in the film, she's like, the AI is like, well, you're just without us, you're just human, and she's like, fuck yeah, I'm just human, and she like realizes that the individual is greater, or is at least equal to the collective, and it's like a weird little dynamic. I thought.
Is this some like
it was
Ayn Rand shit?
No, not anyway. No, but it was like it's I don't know. It's weird. Like liberal democracy can be like a conservative thing, but like I really think that it was like a kind of a Western thought versus an Eastern thought.
She broke away and thought for herself and realized what they were doing was wrong to the Skrulls. This Marvel, the original Marvel,
right,
no relation to Carvel. Cookie Puss, no relation to that. Even though I think Cookie Puss would have been welcome in the.
And it would have been a perfect '90s reference. I'm a little surprised they didn't.
Well, I think that's a regional thing too. I don't think people know what Cookie Puss is here. We live in Texas now, and
you don't think Cookie Puss?
I think it was more of an East Coast.
Yeah,
I think that
Beastie
reference.
Boys.
Because Beastie Boys, but that was B-side Beastie Boys. You would have to really be a big fan of Beastie Boys to get that joke.
That's true.
Yeah, they had that B-side, and it was
right.
Where they
it was.
There was like that
they called the Carvel shot, right?
Cookie or the so. Where the hell were we going?
I don't know, man. But now I'm like trying to remember all the Carvel commercials from back in the day.
I always loved Carvel too. It was like, my name's John Carvel. Right. It was like the most like unappetizing voice you could have to sell ice cream. Come down to Carvel ice cream. Get yourself a Cookie Puss. I'll find you the whale.
You know,
you can probably YouTube these commercials,
or you could look. I bought the Beastie Boys book that came out last year, and I also bought the audio book.
Was there a Carvel reference?
There's a whole chapter on the Carvel TV.
Really?
Yes, because that was when they were transitioning from a punk band to a rap band.
Yeah.
Their first big one was Cookie Puss.
Yeah.
And they couldn't figure out how to play it live. So they used to make prank calls live during their show.
That's weird.
And
so they were like the original.
Well, they felt terrible about it because
what were those guys?
The Jerky Boys.
Yeah.
Well, they felt terrible about it because they crank called some lady at a Carvel, and she like got sad or whatever. And it was like a horrible show. And then, as it turns out, they somehow contacted the Carvel, the guy Carvel, and he was like 100% cool with them doing the Cookie Puss.
As long as you buy fun to the whale on a Cookie Puss, I'm fine with you making fun of.
Yeah,
it's the best ad. Although there's free advertising for my Cookie Puss.
Well, because they also, I'm like going way off field here, but the Beastie Boys they became famous because they sued, I want to say, Virgin Airlines. Because one of their songs got put on a Virgin Airlines commercial, and Virgin Airlines didn't pay for any of the rights, and they sued Virgin Airlines.
That's stupid.
Got like $20,000, and then they bought a bunch of equipment and went on tour with Madonna. I mean, that's basically the story. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought they were all rich kids.
No, well, one or two of them were, but
their main money was suing Virgin Airlines.
Yeah, I bought the audiobook on Audible, and I can give it away to one. I'll give you the Beastie Boys audiobook. It's really good.
Okay.
Yeah. So all right, and back to Captain Marvel.
This is nothing more interesting. Okay, so let's see. You're going on about some weird, the individual versus, now it's blurring the lines of all different kinds of political.
It did get for me just like my own like political science.
Well, I think it follows any hero's journey.
Sure.
I mean, this has been done before, where this has been done in like movies where like the guy or the girl. Usually, it's the guy. He works against his army.
Sure.
To go save a village. Unfortunately, this can fall under the Great White Hope storyline. I could see someone saying that. The Skrulls are like
that's
green
true.
and this unfortunately could fall under a little bit under the old timey powerful like Dances with Wolves,
right?
Where the good guy works away from the bad people. And
then it's only through the actions of the dominant class do the non-dominant class succeed. Yeah, it is. There's a weirdness there.
Well, I mean, unfortunately, in the case of the plot of that movie, that is true.
Yeah.
Being that the Kree are the ones wiping them out, and they are powerless to, they even bring that up.
Yeah.
They're like, listen, we're just doing whatever we can to survive. Now, the movie has a little bit of... You ever seen the movie Mac and Me?
Yes. The E.T. knockoff.
Yeah, the amazing E.T.
Did you like... Because I know...
No, it's garbage.
Okay,
it's complete shit. It's like probably one of the worst movies ever made. It's like a glorified McDonald's commercial.
It is.
Yeah. It's horrendous special effects. It's like, it's
bad.
It's. I'm sorry, whoever made the movie, I apologize. It's a piece of shit.
But it's bad.
Yeah, but the fact that I think people are talking about it still to this day because it is bad.
It's a cultural touchstone in the sense that maybe like tuberculosis.
Polio. Yeah. This is why you should vaccinate your kids, guys. Mac and Me. Well, what's funny is Mac and Me is relevant too. It's because of another Marvel person, Paul Rudd, for years would go on Conan O'Brien.
Oh.
And he would always, it was like a joke.
Yes, I remember
He did it
this.
like 20 times or something. Every time Paul Rudd would have a new movie, he would give him the trailer, and they would always show the same scene
from Mac
where
and
the
Me.
kid in the wheelchair goes down a hill,
Yeah.
falls into the water, and then the Mac and Me alien just sticks his head out of the bushes, and he's like, "Ooh!" You could YouTube it. They done like a whole.
It was hilarious.
Yeah,
It
they
was,
done a collection on it. They done it like how many
well, it
times
was
he's done it?
the sheer number. It was the repetition that made it so
and
funny.
I mean, obviously the whole thing was a joke. You know,
Right.
I don't think Paul Rudd was bringing this tape. He's like, "Ooh, I'm going to get them good." You know, it was just a funny bit. So, but that has definitely kept the movie Mac and Me relevant.
Yes.
Okay,
To
so
a certain,
I think this movie brings back Mac and Me because let me tell you, when they reveal not just that the Skrulls aren't that bad,
right?
there is a weird dynamic shift. So the guy who played Krennic, you said his name is Mendelsohn?
I want to say Ben Mendelsohn, but now that
he's
doesn't
become a
sound
very
right.
good villainous character
Yes.
like villain character
Sure.
actor. Usually that's what he gets played. He's the main Skrull guy trying to go after her, get the information from her. He has his reasons why he's trying to get the information from her, though, because he's trying to save his family. And the Marvel, the original Marvel that was played by Annette Bening, that Carol Danvers keeps seeing when she's Supreme Intelligence, is the person that was helping the other, I guess, Great White Hope that was helping the Skrulls. She wanted to end the war. I guess she was, which I found kind of interesting. She was inventing light speed, which I thought light speed would have existed in some form in the Marvel universe. Because how are these ships getting to places? I mean, they have to be using some kind of. I mean, I know we're getting a little dorky here, but they have to be using some kind of wormhole.
I thought that too. And here's where I come in on this. I thought, because right when they said that, I was like, well, clearly they have light speed because they get to Earth. How else would you? But I think you're right. I think there's a difference between wormhole technology and light speed technology.
I guess. I don't know. And the light speed technology plays into what Captain Marvel's powers are.
But if you have wormhole technology, why would you need light speed?
Right. I don't understand. I mean, I feel like this might get explained in another movie.
Yeah.
I always say the things about these Marvel movies, and again, it's like the same thing. If you're like mad that you don't see the Supreme Intelligence the way it's supposed to be,
just wait.
You're probably going at some point. They're going to keep making Marvel movies.
Oh, yeah.
And
that's
this movie, I'm sure it's going to make a lot of money. It's going to be held in pretty decent regard.
Right.
That they're not going to shy away from the story. You're going to see the Skrulls come back in some shape or form.
I see what you did
there. Yeah, some shape-shifting form, and you're going to see these things explained. Now, again, this movie takes place in the past.
Yes,
but I would still imagine that even in the space, the Kree send their ships to Earth. Or what they called, like C-23 or C-53?
C-53 or 56 or so.
It was like a 53 or 20.
Yeah, it was something like that.
I feel like those numbers mean something. So maybe you guys might want to Google that. That definitely plays into the Marvel Universe. So, whatever, she uses Carol Danvers in the past. It's supposed to be 1989.
Right.
The original Marvel uses Carol Danvers to test flight with her.
Yes.
In the beginning, you're taught that it was the Skrulls. The Kree implanted memories in her brain.
Right,
which is where I get the whole Wolverine thing where he doesn't really know anything. He's got memory implants. They implant memories in her. They're thinking it was the Skrulls that attacked her.
But it wasn't.
It wasn't. It was actually Jude Law.
Right.
Jude Law. And she has a chip on her head. She has this thing on her head, and they're saying that they control her powers. But in theory, they're controlling them.
They're restraining.
They're restraining
Yes.
her powers.
Right.
Yeah. And
Which is
so that's like a big part of the movie. So when you find out that the big shift in the film, and this will tie back to that movie, which is very important, is that at some point she goes back to visit her friend Rambeau.
And
her daughter's Monica Rambeau, who is actually a big Marvel character. She is Captain Marvel in the comics in the 80s.
Okay.
She was an African American superhero in the Avengers. She was around for years, Monica Rambeau. So I thought it was kind of awesome. They showed that, and being that she's a kid, it's like the early 90s. Right. You're obviously going to see her in some shape form.
Yes.
Yeah, but she's not a Skrull. You're going to see her. She's going to show up. Maybe she'll show up in Endgame, and she'll be in her 30s. And maybe they'll cast the same actress to just play her, even though she played her mom, the mom.
Right.
I mean, might as well just do that.
Hey, why not?
Say, hey, look like your mom.
Yeah, looks just like her.
Yeah. So she goes there, and you said Louisiana, was it?
Yes.
Yeah. And to visit, and then out of nowhere, the Skrulls show up.
Yeah, and it's a real weird scene.
The whole tone changes.
Yes.
And he's holding an orange Julius cup or something. It's Talos. And he's like, listen, I'm not here to fight. And he kind of looked like he was drunk.
Well, it was the damnedest thing, because there's a scene where a legitimate neighbor comes up, and Captain Marvel answers the door, and she thinks it's a Skrull, but it's not, and she's like,
it's just some local.
It's very funny, and there's a nice little piece of suspense there. You're like, is it?
Yeah,
and
then wanted to see the ship that she arrived in.
Right.
It was like a test. It was like a SHIELD test ship.
Yes.
Kind of looks a little bit like Lone Star's RV ship from Spaceballs.
Yeah, a little bit, right?
A little bit.
So anyway, so and then they turn around, and there's a Skrull there, and he's talking all like Sling Blade or something, and he's like, I'm here to fight. And it was like, it went immediately, like the Skrull character went immediately from kind of a menacing, relentless,
to like a lovable,
to like, oh wait a minute, I'm not scared, I'm completely disarmed. Here's a guy who's just wanting to chat, and this is weird too, but then there's another Skrull that looks like the mom, Rambeau's mom, and she's out and
with the kid,
and then but
Rambeau is in,
and
not Rambo,
like with a
Rambeau,
with a Cajun twist, and she's immediately like, oh, my daughter, and then she's like, oh, it's cool, let's find out more about this Skrull invasion or whatever. It was just a very abrupt shift.
It is an abrupt shift.
It was an abrupt
shift. Almost
shift.
Like a Fight Club shift.
Yeah, it was.
Just teasing that Fight Club episode.
But no, you're right. Look, I didn't hate it. It didn't ruin the movie for me.
No, I didn't ruin it for me.
But this is one of those things.
And I actually didn't mind it because I knew the Kree were space dicks.
Yeah. Yeah, but well, and you get hints that the Kree are space dicks all the way through it.
Yeah. I got that from Guardians of the Galaxy and the fact that they were bad guys on S.H.I.E.L.D. all the time.
Even if you had never seen those, you would always suspect this society looks like it sucks balls.
There's something very restraining about it.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like it's militaristic. Yep. They're always killing. Yeah.
So the Kree are super space dicks.
Clearly.
Intergalactical dickheads. So you're now this big shift, and you find, like I said, you find out that Marvel had a base in space.
Yes.
Space base.
Space.
Yeah.
It was a Kree cruiser,
I guess,
that she had put in orbit.
Yeah, they knew about it. Well, they said it was a satellite, didn't they?
They did, but the little line at the bottom, the crawl at the bottom said it was a cruiser or something.
That's a movie.
The crawl, the
crawl,
subtitle. But there's that one real funny scene where the chief Skrull is like, "You're my science guy." They went super casual.
Yeah, they were, and then they go on the internet.
Yeah,
and they're looking up something, and they're making it's like dial up,
right?
And everyone's waiting, and then even the Skrulls are like. The one scientist guy is kind of funny because he just makes these weird faces.
Yeah.
And again, now these Skrulls went from being evil to fun level. I want to see a sitcom.
I will see. Yeah,
very sitcomish type characters.
I don't want to knock Captain Marvel at all because I just loved it.
No, I'm not saying that's a bad thing.
No. But and I'm probably going to see it again with my kid and everything. But like, I did not like that part where tonally, even linguistically, like the Skrull talked one way at the beginning of the movie, and then by the end
it's like
of
a total
movie,
personality shift.
Yeah, they're like sitcomish.
Yeah, and then all right. So there's this cat in the movie.
Yeah,
and I'm not going to get into Goose. You first find Goose when she goes back to her military base.
Yes.
And you see Goose wandering around.
Which is weird. It's just there.
Nick Fury's like, loves that cat. He's like, oh, he gets like, it's really funny. He loses it over that cat. And, she's like, Fury, come on. And like I said, they did this age effect on Samuel L. Jackson. How do you think that looked?
I didn't like it.
You didn't like it?
No.
Can you tell it looked fake? If someone didn't tell you that he did that, would you notice?
I don't know. I think
they're getting pretty good at it.
Look, they're getting very good at it. It didn't look fake. It didn't look unreal. But like in my mind, I know how old Samuel L. Jackson is,
right? And
to see him like that was pretty jarring. I think like I should ask my kid. You should ask your kid. Hey, did that guy look old or young?
He knew that. I think we talked about it before. He knew that
they
were de-aging him. I do find it interesting though. In a way, it's like.
Coulson looked weird.
Yeah, Coulson did look weird.
Like Grand Moff Tarkin weird.
Yeah. He wasn't as good as Fury. I think Coulson's not as big of a role in the movie. Yeah, he's like enamored with this. They meet the cat. The cat kind of joins along. They have a stowaway, and they play the cat for laughs. Like when they do like a really big speed, the cat like falls against the wall, and it's like
which is a little.
The cat's floating in space.
That was hilarious.
And then it's revealed later on that the Skrulls see the cat.
Right.
And the first thing they say is, why do you have a...
Flerken.
Flerken is like, are you insane?
Yeah.
That is like the most dangerous. And they're like, it's a tabby cat named Goose.
And it's weird because like, it's not even like hidden. Like all the other characters are like, that's a dangerous alien. Put it down.
And they mention it. You don't know why for a while.
Right.
And even like when they go to the Marvel's base.
Yes.
And then you find Talos' family was on there. All the refugees, and they have some like Earth stuff. So they're playing pinball.
And that was a great scene.
And so I got some Mac and Me vibes because in Mac and Me you see Mac and Me's family.
Oh
and, like, so there's like a dad Mac and Me, and a mom Mac and Me, and a little sister Mac and Me, and like the way they interacted, it was very sitcom-y. And I was hoping Alf would have showed up.
Oh man,
yeah, that would have been great.
Cool.
And then he would have killed that cat.
Yeah, that would have been.
He would have tried to eat, but then the Flerken probably ate Alf.
Yeah.
So they.
Well, yeah.
The Kree show up. And I think one of the funniest things is the first thing they do is when they know too that that's a Flerken.
Right.
That they put
a little Hannibal Lecter
mask on it immediately, which is really funny. And it's a little cute cat, so it just makes it. And it's a little mask, and just makes it really funny.
Well, and they're scanning everyone, and they're like they scan the cat.
Well, that was the Skrulls were scanning, right? In that scene,
were the Skrulls or the Kree?
I thought it was the Skrulls were scanning people. It was like when they first scan they scan the cat, the Flerken. They say it's like highly dangerous. Highly dangerous. And then they scan Nick Fury,
and they're like zero to
harm, like completely harmless. And he's like, which is Fury, and he's just like, motherfucker. No, he doesn't say that. But, so then the Flerken gets revealed that he's got a gigantic tentacles, and he like swallows everybody up.
Well, there's like a pocket universe in his cheeks or something.
Guess,
I googled it because I was like, what is going on?
Yeah.
And apparently it's like a pocket universe in his cheeks, which is where he kept the Tesseract.
Whoa, we didn't even talk about that.
Okay, well, but and that's where the tentacles come from. Yeah. And that he'll suck things into this pocket universe.
Yes. So now you know why everyone else except for people on Earth thought it was a cat.
Right. Well, it looks like an adorable cat. It looks like our cat Astro, you know?
That cat's kind of mean.
Yeah,
I find that cat weird friendly.
Well, that cat may be Cree, because it's
it's a flirt cat. It's a dick cat. Yeah, so there's a scene. All right, it all plays out. Now it's revealed that Captain Marvel's got to fight the Kree. I feel like we're just replaying the whole movie.
Right. At this point, yeah. But
yeah, okay, whatever. She fights, she wins.
Yes.
It's cool.
Triumphant.
Yeah.
Right.
What do you think of how they revealed how Nick Fury lost his eye? I knew when I saw the cat that the cat had something to do with it.
Well, now, you are anti-spoiler for stuff like this, and I am pro-spoiler.
Well, I'm not exactly anti-spoiler. Like, if I know I'm not going to be able to see the movie anytime soon.
Okay, yeah.
Like if I know I'm not going to be able to see the movie for a couple of weeks, I'm fine with it spoiling it because I don't want to. But if I knew that I was going to see it the day after the movie came out, I don't want to be ruined. I don't want it spoiled. Like, I might as well. I'm already paying to go see it. I might as well enjoy it.
Well, I knew I spoil myself actively. Like, I'll Google spoilers and try to find them. And so I knew going into it that the cat scratched out Nick Fury's eye.
But that could have been any cat.
Could have been any cat.
The funny thing is, he's this space monster flirkin' thing.
I didn't have a problem with it, except a couple things. Like, the cat was clearly helping them
but it's
the whole time. And then it scratched him, which was just like,
but cats do that. Cats scratch. They don't care.
But it's not a cat, it's a flirkin.
Yeah, but it's
not a cat, though.
Okay, well, it's a space cat.
Well, okay. So
regardless, cats...
They do
that. I know people who have cats for like 10 years, and I know where the cat will scratch their hand.
Yeah, I have a huge scar on my wrist.
Yeah,
from a cat, like...
Yeah, I don't trust cats.
Anyway.
We have a cat in our house, but it has no claws. We didn't do that. We adopted it. Yeah, it didn't come that way. Someone did it to it. But I would never allow a cat in my house.
Right.
They destroy things. They do. They literally have little mini weapons.
Yeah.
I mean, those...
Well, we have 2 cats, and they're both terrible. They
have toxic piss.
They do. I love them, but so anyway, I loved the scene at the very end where Coulson is like, "Hey, any truth to the rumor that you got that scar from?" You know, and it's like this big tough.
Oh yeah, like that's a tough guy thing,
right?
Like,
and Fury's like, "I'm not going to say, but that's basically it." You know, and that was really cool. It just seemed like they were really trying to force their way into revealing how his eye got cut out.
Well, I'm fine with that. I just thought it was kind of silly. Like, everything was done. They're on the ship going home. And he's still fucking with the cat. And the cat just scratches his eye. And he doesn't even admit to it that his eye was scratched out.
Right.
Like, they're eating dinner at the Rambo's house again.
Yeah.
And and they're hanging out with the Skrull family. The Skrull sitcom that was on ABC. Don't you remember that Skrull sitcom in the 90s?
Right, that Skrull family.
That was on ABC. That was my favorite. That Skrull family.
Skrull is enough.
Skrull is enough.
But so it was weird.
Well, they're sitting around eating dinner, and like his fucking eyes. He has the delusion that his eye's going to work again.
Well, yeah. I did think it was really funny how they kept hinting that his eye was going to get... Because that's like a great example of dramatic irony. The audience clearly knows Fury's going to lose his eye. And so every time something weird happens... Like, remember that one scene something happened?
And me and my son were watching a movie. He's like, that's how he lost his eye. I'm like, he's banged his eye.
Yeah. And so, like, I thought that was a really clever use of dramatic irony throughout the whole movie. But I don't know. I thought it was kind of a letdown. You liked the cat scratching out his eye? Or
I mean, I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care. It doesn't matter. I just thought it was played for, like... I mean, I didn't expect this, like, Darth Vader origin story, how Nick Fury lost his eye. I didn't need to have, like, a 30-minute battle where he's like, I have the higher ground. And then, like, the cat's like... No, the cat says he has the higher ground. And then Nick Fury will be like... You don't know my power. This is a line from episode 3.
Yeah.
And then, then he scratches his eye out. It's just, like I said, it just happens real fast. I found it odd that he keeps the cat.
Yeah.
He keeps the Flurkin. But because he swallows the Tesseract.
You got to keep the cat because it's got the Tesseract.
So the Tesseract is this thing that's been around Marvel Universe since
Right.
Basically, I think since Captain America.
It was...
First Avengers. Captain America 1. I think
you're right.
Is that what he uses?
Well, no, it's the Red Skull has the Tesseract.
He
right?
uses the Tesseract's power to energize Hydra. And something happens to him in the end, and he gets like sucked into, and then he shows up.
Is that the Tesseract or the Soul Stone or whatever?
No, it was the Tesseract.
It was. Okay, I don't remember any of this.
Because then the Tesseract shows up in Avengers, the first one.
Someone said, I Googled this later on this afternoon, and I got distracted, so I never followed through on it. But someone said, like, Tony Stark's dad drug the Tesseract out of the Arctic ice.
Yeah, so I guess they were...
Right, with Captain America's shield.
So I guess at some point, Marvel, Annette Bening, got her hands on it, and it was on the space station.
Oh, all right.
And Carol Danvers gives, like, basically, the Flerken swallows up the Tesseract to hold it.
Right.
And it's funny, they use a Fonz lunchbox instead for a bit.
Yeah.
And then they fake it out, and there's no...
Yeah, there's like a thermos.
It's in the cat. And the cat was holding it.
Right. And the cat left with the Skrull evacuation. All right, so, they had the lunchbox.
Yeah, okay. So, whatever. Regardless, Tesseract's been part of the Marvel Universe. There were a couple of things. This is like the thing I didn't like, where it gets kind of prequel-y. One of them is Ronan.
That was weird.
I felt like he was totally non-essential to the movie. I knew they brought him back. I forgot the actor's name. Do you know the actor's name?
I don't.
Okay, well, he played him in the first Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yes.
And I remember even people were saying back then that he was kind of weak in Guardians of the Galaxy. He was fine. He was just like a foil or whatever for them.
Right.
It was like he wasn't that great of a villain. And then he shows up in this movie, but I guess he's there to kind of drop hints of like, hey, this guy's a bad guy, and he's like an extremist too. And they're kind of working for him, so that should have been the dead giveaway that Jude Law and them were actually not
bad guys.
Were space dicks and not space.
Well, what was in the comics? Wasn't Ronan the Accuser?
He's a bad guy.
But wasn't he part of the government, like the Kree government?
Well, he was always considered, I guess, extreme end or whatever.
Right.
I mean, even like the Kree has like their own civil war. They have their own little political issues, obviously, and he's supposed to be an asshole.
Yeah,
he's like,
well, and he's called the Accuser,
yeah,
which is like a dick nickname.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna use that name,
right?
I mean, like, imagine if somebody ran for Congress and they're like on
Billy the Accuser,
Harold the Accuser, and you'd be like, what? And then all of a sudden he gets elected, and you're just like, how did this guy get?
What the fuck even happened?
Harold the Accuser,
yeah. So, okay, so there was that.
And then you find out later that Nick Fury gets the name for the Avengers from
Carol's call sign.
Her ship said Avenger on her plane.
Right, Carol the Avenger Danvers.
Yeah.
Right,
and that's
like
when he
Goose and
had
Maverick.
a different initiative, which was assigned to Top Gun.
Right.
They did have
a Top Gun undercurrent.
And then they had Goose. That was why they named the cat Goose. It was like a little Top Gun reference. It was a little prequelitis when he's like changes the name and then he's like but it's weird. It's almost like, okay, so I almost feel like I've been reading comics for years, and the Marvel Universe is really well done. The movie,
it is
it's almost like it's not a prequel because it is part of this big universe. I don't know.
It was weird because, like, look, this movie was all at once a prequel and an origin story and a transition. Yeah. I mean, it was all those things at once.
Yeah.
And it did all of those things without seeming like any one of those things. Like, it was an origin story, but the origin story was kind of the plot that kept the movie going. It wasn't like, oh, this is how I became it. It's like, oh, let's investigate how I became this. Yeah. And that's like a subtle difference, but an important
one. Well, that's why it plays into like the Wolverine thing. And I almost feel like this character, and it's kind of hard, it's like, okay, we saw the trailer for Dark Phoenix.
Yes. before this film.
Yeah, and then I would say like her powers feel very like Phoenix-like.
They do. Okay, let's go back to, because for the last like 3 years I've been hearing about how Captain Marvel is the most powerful hero in the Marvel universe.
I wouldn't say she is the most, but she's definitely up there.
Well, but how so? Like,
she's
Hulk, right?
She could probably kick his ass. She'd probably give him a run for his money.
But what are her powers? She has like pulsar hands.
I think they even showed in the movie though that because she was restrained, we only saw a hint.
And then she started glowing. Yeah.
I'm sure she's gonna beat up Thanos a little bit in Avengers Endgame.
So this is all leading up to her, and that was the first post-credit scene.
Okay, yeah. So the post-credit scene takes place after. Spoiler to Infinity War.
Yes. It's the very end of Infinity War.
It's after the Infinity War.
Right, because
so this is like in between Infinity War and the new movie Endgame that's coming out in a month.
Yes.
Everyone's dead.
Well, and the numbers are still going up. The number missing.
You got the leftover Avengers, Scarlett Johansson.
Yes.
For, what's her name? Black Widow.
Right.
Captain America.
Yes.
Bruce Banner. And Don Cheadle.
Yes.
Who they've hinted at for years. People, and this is kind of, okay, so this is kind of interesting. So, and this is why I almost like, it kind of, by revealing that the Skrulls aren't that bad, it kind of ruined the Skrulls a little bit. Because they are, in the comic, they are bad guys.
Yeah, well, okay, yes.
And he does say though, we're spread out. So I would imagine that
there's some good ones.
He might be one of the good ones. One of the good ones.
Yeah, he's one of the good ones.
One of the bad ones comes on. Talos is going to have to come on the news, and he's going to have to talk. Whenever something happens, and then
right, he'll have to explain it.
He'll have to be like, "Listen, not all bad. Not all Skrulls are bad. We all don't."
Right, we'll all nuke cities.
I'm not trying to imply to any type of people on Earth.
No. But you're right. I remember the comics as Skrulls being all bad.
They're bad guys. But then there have been times where the Skrulls have been good.
Yeah, I don't remember those.
No, there were. There's, it's just like any other thing. There's shades of gray, and, there's been good, less dickish Kree, and there's been space dick Krees.
Yes. Yeah. All right. That's true.
So, but I could see one of the points is going to be that you're going to lose the threat of the Skrulls to the Marvel Universe. They don't seem as much of a threat anymore.
Right.
Even though they are. Because there was, little rumors for years that War Machine is really a Skrull.
Okay, I've heard that, but I've not heard it, seriously.
There's been other, there's been other rumors, Coulson is really a Skrull.
I've heard that.
Because he is killed in Avengers.
Yes.
And then he comes back from Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Right. Yeah.
But they explain how he came back.
Right.
You can still say he was a Skrull the whole time or something. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. It does it does feel like a resetting. Not a reset, but look.
Well, you know that in Avengers 1, the first Avengers, the Chitauri, I think they're called.
Yeah, the Chitauri.
That was originally supposed to be Skrulls.
I heard that.
And they even made toys. Huh. They had it in the style guide because Marvel didn't have the rights to the Skrulls. Marvel, the movies did not have the rights yet because the Skrull. It's so stupid that these rules and because the Skrulls were part of were introduced in Fantastic Four. Fantastic Four was owned by Fox.
Yes.
So anything that first appeared in a Fantastic Four comic or Fox. In a X-Men comic was basically right for Fox, unless Fox didn't do it. So technically, the fact that they were able to get Black Panther because he first appeared in Fantastic Four.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah,
I'm getting real geeky here.
Right.
I'm inside. Comic
Yeah. I remember. Yeah, this is I have vague recollections.
So the Skrulls were supposed to be the bad guys in the first. That was supposed to be the thing that everyone was fighting in the first Avengers movie.
Right, but they didn't. They went with the Chitauri.
Well, they were the backup plan.
Yeah, I don't remember the Chitauri from the comics. I mean,
they were a minor.
Yeah.
I mean, they were there.
Right.
They were minor. I mean, definitely around that time they were beefing them up in the comics. Like all of a sudden, the Chitauri became a big threat, and I was like,
well, it's funny. When they started the Marvel Cinematic Universe, they really went with the B-listers. Like,
well, they had to have a choice,
right? They didn't have a choice.
No,
and it worked out so spectacularly.
That's why I'm almost like, now that they got their hands on like Wolverine, X-Men, I'm kind of like, you know what?
Yeah,
I'd be fine if they waited like 5 years until they did anything with them. I would hope they wait. I don't know how they are even going to bring in, because like I said, the problem is with X-Men and Marvel and all that stuff is that even in the comics, the X-Men were always kind of like in their own little universe, and then once in a while the X-Men, because they have this whole giant universe in themselves.
Well, the X-Men are so populated,
there's exactly,
a ton of them.
And they have their own little storylines, and they had like, for a while they were so popular, they had like 20 different comics. It was like crazy, and they were so in their own little world. And unfortunately, comics come out every month, and it's okay to get repetitious with stories because not everybody's reading those comics. Not everybody's.
Well, and they cycle, like back in the day, they assumed people would cycle out of them. You'd stop.
Well, what's the thing about soap operas? They say that, they know that people my age are reading the comics. And but do you remember, they say soap operas that supposedly, like, every 5 years they repeat the same script.
I believe
or
it.
a variation of that script.
Yeah.
I mean, there's only so many stories you could tell.
True.
So at some point you go back and you mine that original story.
Yeah.
I mean, they've gone back and redone the Phoenix story in X-Men like a ton of times in the comics because might as well bring it back. But like movies are different. Movies are events. So I don't know how they're going to bring in all these like X-Men characters and make them not feel repetition. People are like, I can't wait to see Galactus in the movies. But I'm like, okay, but how are you going to top the Thanos thing? Yeah,
that'll be tough. Because the stakes are so high. I mean, right?
Delicious steak. My mouth is watering just thinking about those steaks.
Well, it'll be tough because, look, let's say the next phase of the Marvel universe is going to have Captain Marvel, probably.
She'll be part of it. Yeah, Black Panther will still be part
of it.
Black Panther,
Spider-Man, Tom Holland, Spider-Man.
Yep.
Who else are they going to bring in? What else they got?
Well, they're going to have everything now. They're going to have Fantastic Four.
Oh, Fantastic Four will come in.
I think Fantastic Four would be a great fit in the way the Marvel Universe was.
Yeah,
I would kind of almost hope that they would do something where it's almost like, well, that'd be tough, but if they don't take place now, it takes place in the 60s.
Oh, well, that would be cool.
Because I think stylistically and everything, it could kind of work. I don't know. Or maybe they could do something cool where it's like they're in the 60s.
Right.
And then they do something.
And they're in today.
And now they're now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, they could do that pretty well. Look, I thought the 90s aesthetic of Captain Marvel was spot on. It felt like a 90s movie.
Yeah, as somebody who, you know, I was a teenager to a young adult in that time period, so to me it was like
so perfect. The music, the feel of the film or video or whatever they shot it on. Obviously the practical effects of the cars and the this and the that. I mean, it was just so spot on, and the soundtrack was great. And
but not so ancient that kids would not be able to.
Yeah.
Because that's the funny thing we talked about, technology and stuff like that. You know, we were talking about movies and talking about movies in the past and our previous podcast. About how things. It's I always say this, the internet's been around for 30 years.
Oh yeah.
So they touch on it in this movie. They're going on the internet, but it's
well, they went on their search engine was Alta Vista. Do you remember Alta Vista?
But wasn't AOL already big back then?
Yeah, it
Do you
was.
Think they just couldn't get the rights to use AOL?
No, I remember. Look, because this is weird. By 95,
I don't think I used Alta Vista.
I used. There was 5 or 6 search engines. This is pre-Google.
Okay.
Alta Vista, OneBlink.
Was Netscape a thing yet?
Netscape was a thing, but that was more of a browser, not really a search engine.
Yes, that's right.
But Alta Vista was one of the very big search engines.
I like when they show the Internet Cafe.
Yeah.
And they show her typing and she's in the suit.
And none of them knew how to type. That was the other funny part. None of the characters, Nick Fury didn't know how to type. Carol Danvers didn't know how to type.
Why would Nick Fury not be able to know how to type?
You'd think he would, but I think this was the time in which, like...
Well, he was probably too busy going on...
Well, previously, I think... I don't know. Again, I don't mean to get, like, weird political about it, but I think previously they just had secretaries type shit, you know?
Yeah.
But, like, this is,
probably,
like...
Yeah.
Now you're, like a CEO today type shit.
Well, they're using their phones.
Right. Well, but
they're still having people type.
Yeah,
or they're
they're
dictating on their phone. They're talking.
Yeah.
And then it sends a message like...
That's true.
You can talk and have it like... I always forget you can do that. Like, you can talk a text and send it.
Oh, you don't do that?
No.
I do that all the time. And then I go correct it.
Yeah, that's why I don't do that, because I don't trust it.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. Look, I loved Captain Marvel.
So do you think these idiots... Okay, so, in your opinion, we're just going to end this real soon.
Yeah.
Like, all right, we like the movie.
Yes.
Whatever. Go see it. You'll enjoy it. If you like Marvel movies, you'll like this. Don't listen to the trolls. Don't listen to the haters.
Right.
Don't fall for whatever.
No, it's a good look.
If you like Marvel movies, you're going to like Captain Marvel.
It's both a good movie, and I'll say it. If you're looking for a movie to take like a daughter to, or if you're looking for like a positive female role model, it fits that bill. Not like an obscene,
Did she smile enough for you?
She smiled plenty.
Oh my god, so much smiling. I was like, thank God. I felt
But look,
safe.
It is a good movie for like that type of thing. It doesn't beat you over the head with it. That's not the point of the movie. You can enjoy it without.
Yeah, that's
ever
the thing. I think
that.
all the bullshit and everything. It's like, no, she's just a character.
Yeah,
she's just a person. They don't. I mean, like I said, if anything, the most corniest scene is when they played the No Doubt song while she's beating up everybody.
But I thought that was
when her powers are in full effect,
right?
And it's like, and you hear that whiny Gwen Stefani voice, like,
yes,
sorry. I mean, I don't know. The whole thing was fabricated. I just like. Do you think? So do you think these to the trolls or to the assholes?
Yes.
Do you think they would like this movie, and they would have to like just admit to it?
Yeah. Look, I think all the people that are bitching about it online, and they're like, I just don't. I think they're all gonna like when it comes out on Netflix or Disney streaming. I think they're gonna all watch it and like it and genuinely like it. Right? Yes.
I don't think this is like Last Jedi, where
there's some structural problems.
There's Last Jedi has like it's weird. Like I get it. You know, you can hate that movie. It makes sense. There are things about that movie that
I loved. Look, I liked it a lot. If you don't like it, I don't think any less of you. You know,
but I think, and again, maybe I'll rewatch Captain Marvel, and I'm sure there'll be some things that'll bug me more.
Right.
But I just think, like, if I watched all Marvel movies, it's not. Like, is it the best Marvel movie? No, it's not. It's not the worst Marvel movie.
It's
either.
In the top half, right?
I would say it's definitely in.
Okay, so what do you say? There's 20 Marvel movies. I think
the best one.
What are your top 3 Marvel? New.
I like Winter Soldier.
Okay, Winter Soldier.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Okay.
Infinity War is amazing.
Okay.
I think those are my top 3.
It's funny because I did you see that old ESPN reporter Jamel Hill?
No.
She asked for the top 3 Marvel movies.
Okay.
And everyone participated. And my top 3, coincidentally, were Winter Soldier, Guardians of the Galaxy 1, and Black Panther.
I like Black Panther. I think Infinity War is better.
Yeah.
I think Black Panther is really good, but I don't think it's that great either. I think
I discount movies that are like contingent upon other movies.
What do you mean? Like I got you.
You know what I mean? Like,
Infinity War is a weird movie because you need to see the other movies.
Right.
All right, fine. I'll remove Infinity War.
Let's just say you discount.
I'll remove Infinity War because to me,
top 3 standalone Marvel films.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Right. Winter
Soldier. And Iron Man 2. I'm kidding.
That's the worst one.
That's the worst one. That is the worst one. Yeah, I mean, I guess I like Black Panther. I like Thor Ragnarok a lot. I love Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah.
That's a fun movie. I'll put that on later. I'll play that in the background. The music's great.
It's a great movie.
Black Panther's good, but it's not that great. I was like... Oh man, this is like
look,
I'm not gonna fall down that fucking.
No.
It's good. It's not that great. Like some of the effects are not that good for a Marvel movie, and it's crazy because it was expensive as fuck.
Yeah.
Like that scene in the end when he's fighting Killmonger, and that's that unessential CGI with the weird. What the fuck is that metal?
Oh,
vibranium.
Vibranium.
The vibranium trains.
Yeah.
It was so stupid. Like, that was terrible looking. I was like, that does not look good. I thought his face was amazing. Michael B. Jordan was great.
Oh, look, the acting was great. The directing was great.
But it's not the best Marvel movie.
Oh, no. Well, look, I think the best Marvel movie... Gosh, I don't want to say it, but I think Guardians of the Galaxy was probably my favorite.
Well, I think Guardians of the Galaxy...
It just doesn't feel like a Marvel movie.
Guardians of the Galaxy proved that if you get the right writer, the right directors, the right creative team, you could take characters from the Marvel... That it just showed that the Marvel Universe, it didn't have to be a number one book.
Right. It could be anything.
It could be... And if they could do that, they could literally do anything. That's what that proved. Guardians of the Galaxy was like... Oh my... And you knew that. Like, that's why once they did that movie, I was like, I'm glad they didn't have Wolverine and they didn't have... Honestly, the only characters I want from the Fox assets of I just want Wolverine.
Yep.
And Fantastic Four.
Fantastic Four, if done right, will be great.
Doctor Doom and all the villains.
Yes.
And maybe, I don't really want that. I don't want the X-Men involved. I think it's too... That's going to be very tough. Yeah. You can't all of a sudden have a universe that never had a mutant problem.
Right. Well,
show up unless you start from scratch. Unless you start from day one and you say... So you eliminate... You remove the Magneto. And like maybe something happens in Endgame where all of a sudden people come back or something, and then all of a sudden some people are coming and they're being born with powers. If you do something like that, and then people start getting powers, and
I can see that.
They tried doing that with the Inhumans. Do you remember?
Right? Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Do you remember the Inhumans miniseries? Did you see that?
No, I don't think so.
I watched it. It was bad.
Was that on Fox?
It was on ABC.
It was like an adjacent project to...
Well, yeah, S.H.I.E.L.D., I guess.
Yes.
Well, S.H.I.E.L.D. had the Inhumans, not the main Inhumans, but they had Inhumans as part of the storyline.
Yes.
So in the comics, they were trying, because of Fox, they had this weird thing where basically licensing, they were not allowed to use Wolverine or any of the Fox-owned characters. They were literally burying them in the comics. And the comic characters, like in the comic universe, they were trying to push the Inhumans like super hard.
Yes,
and they were trying to push like, and people weren't buying it.
No
one bought it. The comics, it did not work. They tried, they were like, listen, we don't need mutants, we got Inhumans, and people were like, Inhumans are weird.
Yeah, it was
like,
No, that'll be a weird one. But look, I think if there's 20 Marvel properties, I'm going to say Captain Marvel was definitely in the top 10. Top half.
I guess.
I think.
I don't know. I like a lot of movies. I mean, I could tell you like the worst ones are probably
Iron Man 2.
I mean, Iron Man 2, I think Iron Man 3
have you watched the original Thor recently?
It's okay.
It
reminds me of a He-Man movie.
Yeah, it reminds me of an old
movie.
Yeah,
like the plot
with
is
Frank
like
Langella and
it's almost the same plot. It's okay. I mean, the fact that they even made a Thor movie at the time was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Again, I think Thor 3 was the best one.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah.
Like I want to see another Thor movie.
Oh, I forgot. Yeah, The Dark World.
Look, that was terrible.
It was not.
Well,
good.
what's her face? I mean, Natalie Portman wasn't good. That one, oh god.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't mind the actress, but man, her character was horrible. You know what I'm talking about? Her friend.
Yeah.
She was like really annoying.
It's not ringing a bell right now, but yeah.
I mean, I like. Okay, what do you think of Spider-Man in the Marvel? What do you think of that Spider-Man movie?
It still feels jarring to see Spider-Man among. To me, Spider-Man has always been a solo character, and I know he was in the Avengers for a while. I
don't see him that way. Because I read the comics, and he always was in the events, and he always starred in things. To me, he's that. I think he's an important role. So when they announced that they got Sony basically made they made shitty movies. I mean, they made those horrendous Amazing Spider-Man movies.
Right. Well, they fucked it up. Yeah.
Yeah, and they were just like, what was it like? I think they still like own the rights to make movies.
Right.
Marvel
they can
basically
do it.
came in and said, "Listen, we want him in our universe. We'll make the movie." They basically, it's weird. Like, they're basically giving Sony free money.
Yeah.
Like, they're handling the creative. They're like,
right.
Listen, you know, like, we're losing.
Just
in a way, they're losing
yeah.
money making a Spider-Man movie. Like, but, you know, they want to have part of it. It's like.
Well, I guess, I don't know. I like the Spider-Man movies. I don't have anything.
You talking about the original ones?
Well, actually, I like the first one.
I like the first two. The third one's a mess.
The third one's a mess. And then the middle ones were terrible.
They were crap.
Yeah.
I knew from day one when they announced it, when they fired Sam Raimi,
right,
who was an actual legitimate, like, when they announced Sam Raimi was directing Spider-Man, I was like, holy shit.
He was a
guy who did Evil Dead and, like,
Ash, yeah.
Darkman.
Darkman. Liam Neeson, right?
Yeah.
A pre-taken Liam Neeson.
Not my to
yeah.
that.
Well, look, I like the first Spider-Man, and the second iteration of it I didn't care for.
No, it was horrible.
This new Spider-Man kid nails it, I think.
Oh, he does an amazing job.
Yeah. He's really good, right? Yeah. And growing up, Spider-Man was always my favorite superhero.
Grown-up Spider-Man?
No, like growing up.
Oh. I like my Spider-Man being 30.
Growing up, Spider-Man was always my favorite superhero. You know, like once I made the shift from DC to Marvel. So, I don't know. I like the new ones. But I still don't see him as part of the Marvel universe.
It's a little weird.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying I'm right. But
Nick Fury's in the new one.
Yes. Right.
So that's going to be cool.
That'll be good.
He'll tie him in. All right. Well, I mean, we could go on for hours about toxic trolls. And,
fuck them.
You know, I just don't know how much of that is true. You know, I posted some stuff on
Yes.
I
did a great... Yeah,
I did a drawing of Captain Marvel, but with AOC. What's her name? How do you say her name? Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. The bane of Fox News.
Oh, they hate her.
They hate her so much.
I'll tell you.
So mad when
they see
her. So I was like, you know, I'm going to make her into Captain Marvel. This is like double trigger people.
Right. It was a great image. And it's a great,
Thanks.
Well, and it's a great comment, you know, because, like, it's the same dynamic.
Well, I kind of want to, like, do a shift on my artwork a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't want to draw Trump anymore. Like, a lot of people were, like, I don't care what people say, or, like, I unless something big happens.
Right.
Like he explodes, like he eats too many hamburgers.
Hamburgers.
And he explodes. I'm going to take a break from drawing him or posting drawings him. I kind of want to post, like, more positive images.
Right.
Like aspirational people.
Yeah, well, I get that.
I don't want to, I don't know. I kind of like, like I said, unless he does something really funny.
Yeah.
Like, I'm kind of tired of drawing him.
He is one note in that extent. I always, look, I like the protest art against him.
Well, it's like, I mean, people were like, well, why do you always draw him? I'm like, well, you know, I have a fucking opinion. I don't care what you say. You know, or they'll say, like, why don't you draw Hillary? And I'm like, why don't you go draw Hillary? I don't want to draw her. She's not interesting. Why would I draw her?
Yeah.
Why would I draw any of these people? You go draw her. You go fucking...
But I'll tell you that AOC is interesting.
What?
Alexandria Cortez, whatever her name is. She's interesting. She's really interesting. You know,
like how?
Well, her ideas and she's so young.
I think that's the thing.
She overturned.
She's so young, and that's the thing.
Right.
Like she's gonna be around a long time, and she's gonna be the bane of their existence.
Well, and she has all these ideas that still have that idealistic bent to them. They weren't beat out of her head.
She backs them up with logic. I don't.
Yeah, no. I legitimately like her policy ideas.
Someone brought up a good point. They said that people don't understand, and especially like the older Democrats that are in power.
Yeah,
they don't understand that the younger the Democrats that are getting elected, like her and like other people in Congress, that they know who they're dealing with when it comes to the modern day Republican Party. I know we're getting a little political.
They know there's no compromise.
They know what they're dealing with. They're not having nostalgic memories of the 80s of them, or like their
they don't remember.
They don't have any history when it comes to that. So I think that a lot of people were like, "Holy shit!" Like they know what they're dealing with. Like, yeah.
It is. It's a big paradigm shift.
Yeah.
I know that's kind of like an overused phrase, but like
it is.
They realize like we're not gonna debate this out. We're not gonna like.
Yeah, they know what they're dealing with.
Yeah. So
there is no debate.
No, it's something else, and you're right. She's gonna be around for a while.
Yeah.
And
you know who else is gonna be around for a while?
Huh.
Captain Marvel.
Fucking Captain Marvel, right?
And she's gonna bring her fucking Me Too. she's gonna bring her SJW.
Well,
she's gonna make you so mad.
She's gonna be in the new Avengers,
and she's gonna beat up Thanos, and you're gonna get mad.
Well, and her next solo movie, I think it's Captain Marvel Snowflake Apocalypse.
Snowflake Libtard.
Right.
Beta male.
Yes. Right. So,
Twitter troll.
But yeah,
Captain Marvel versus Twitter trolls. It's awesome.
I hope she's around for a while. And look, I'll tell you this. I loved Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
I love that Gal Gadot. And
it just sounds like you're saying, I love that gal.
Oh, no, yeah.
I love that gal.
I love that gal. Her smile. I loved Gal Gadot. I thought so much of...
she was great in the role.
Yeah, it was a great movie. I liked Captain Marvel more.
I do too, because I think it's almost like Wonder Woman, the first Wonder Woman movie. We'll see how Wonder Woman 1984
I'll bet you that's going to be so good.
No,
you're skeptical.
They keep delaying it.
Yeah, you're right.
Well, they're delaying it for other reasons. I don't think it's because it's like bad.
Well,
but that one's called Wonder Woman 1984. I wonder how they're gonna play with that one, because the name 1984 with it. It sounds interesting.
Yeah, unless they work it into it, but sure.
Maybe. Yeah, Wonder Woman's gonna be. It's gonna be like that Mac commercial that aired in 1984.
Yeah, she's gonna throw a hammer at the screen.
It's gonna smash the screen. That
was a great one.
Yeah, it'd be great to reenact it.
It would be.
Yeah, that's how they sneak a Mac ad in the.
Right, she throws her sword up into the. Well, okay. I loved Wonder Woman.
I think it's just because it takes place in the World War One. I mean, that's over 100 years ago.
It is. Yeah.
Captain Marvel. We lived that.
We lived it. And I don't mean to, because it's like a classic trope, is you're pitting two women against. But
no, I'm not even. I think it's like apples and oranges. It is. I think one of them. I mean, again, you got the Marvel universe behind it. You have the full Marvel universe backing. You know, if you're familiar with the whole Marvel universe, you have that back. You know, Nick Fury shows up.
Right.
You know, Wonder Woman. You didn't have any of that.
No.
You just had Wonder Woman.
Right.
I mean, there's like
and
a small match.
Chris Pine. Yep.
Yeah, Chris Pine. Yeah. I was gonna be like, William Shatner was in the movie.
Oh, that
was an odd. They got an 85-year-old man to play the love interest. I thought that was really bizarre. He was like, Wonder Woman. What a wonder.
But yeah, look, I loved Wonder Woman. I liked Captain Marvel more. And I think my kid liked it more. You know,
I mean, sure. I don't know.
Yeah,
whatever.
All right, so look, we're going to release this soon.
Yeah,
and then subsequent to that, we have a big Fight Club.
Yeah, we started a Fight Club.
Yep,
where we just beat the shit out of each other.
Yeah, we're going to be non-sequential. We're going to be talking about our 9th episode, when it's really going to be our 10th.
Is this an episode?
I think this is a special bulletin.
Special.
That's how we're going to release it.
We're going to call it a bonus episode.
A bonus episode.
A side story.
Right. If we were doing like Patreon or something, it would have been like a paywall one.
Yeah. Well, let's try to get when we get 8 followers. When we get 8 followers on Podbean, we'll start charging.
There we go.
That's when we know we're so big.
That's what's going to blow up.
Yeah. All right. Well. Yeah. Go see Captain Marvel.
Go see it. It's a good movie.
And chill. look, guys, it's the fucking movie.
Right?
It's like, I don't know, go get a hobby or something. go help on a lady.
Or
across
go
the
to one of
street.
those massage parlors that.
What?
Well, like the
How is this going?
yeah. Well, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
What?
the guy, like, haven't you been seeing that? Like the woman who owns the massage parlor.
Are you talking about the guy from the
Robert
football?
Kraft, yeah.
Yeah.
But also, like, Matt Gaetz, and Trump watched the Super Bowl with this woman. It's like it's the big Republican sex trafficker. Anyway, we're out of here.
Wow. Well, that seems like that's a story that we'll have to save for next episode.
Next episode.
All right.
I'm Joseph K.
I'm Rob Israel. And
oh, go ahead.
no, you got it.
No, I always screw it up.
You still going on about that.
There we go.
See you next time.